Mediation.com. This video is about the potential limitations of meditation. And I know that that may feel like a very sensitive subject for those of you whom meditation has affected so positively. There is no question in my mind that meditation has incredible healing and growing properties. But there's also no question in my mind that it does have its limitations. So when you compare meditation to a practice such as self-therapy using a modality like IFS, internal family systems, you see a very big difference between the two, and I'm going to talk about that briefly. The main difference between self-observing in meditation and self-observing in a practice such as IFS is the difference between passivity and interaction. So in meditation, you're really encouraged to release everything that comes up from you. First, to be open enough to allow whatever to come up that wants to come up to come up. But then the practice is not to hold on to it, but to release it and let it go. And of course, I can see the appeal to that. If you have stresses in your life, if there's some dilemma that's going on, if maybe some childhood trauma is coming up, that you would want to simply release it and be done with it, to move on, to get over it. I can understand that approach. And when it comes to meditation, it's a very healthy thing to get into that state where you can just allow things to come up and allow yourself to remain calm and relaxed and, yes, to release them. But the limitation comes when there are parts of you that are coming up that don't want to be released, that in fact need quite the opposite, that need you to stop, to focus on them, to listen to their story, to hear what they do for your system, why they are in your system, what they are trying to get across to you, what they need, and to try and listen with as much compassion in your heart as you can, and then to attempt, if it's healthy for you and for your entire system, to give them what they need, or to offer them or suggest things that would be helpful for them. And that is the practice that we try and get our clients to in IFS. So the difference between passivity and interaction is huge. And like I said, I'm not criticizing meditation. I don't want it to appear like I'm criticizing meditation. But I am going to say positively that you cannot expect as much healing to be done when you bring parts up and then release them, compared to bringing parts up and being with them. You cannot get as much healing and growing done in this way, in this realm. Now, there may be other realms where meditation is healing and growing and taking you to another level. But when it comes to healing trauma and unburdening parts, it's my argument that modalities like IFS will get you there faster, and will get you to a place that meditation just simply cannot bring you. So the goal of both of these practices is to have mental integration. And I'm going to talk about that, what integration is, in just a moment here. But both of these processes, that's the goal, is so that the mind integrates and that we create a healthier internal environment. So it's a fantastic intention, whatever you're doing in your life, whether it's meditation or self-therapy or yoga or just a walk at the beach. If you're having this intention of bringing a healthier system to light, then you're going to foster a healthier system. There's no question about that. But again, it would be my argument that when it comes to trauma and when it comes to deep, deep healing of the system, we need to do a little bit more. We need to bring the intention of really being with those parts of us that were traumatized and really spending the time to get to know them so that we can start to heal them from a really deep, deep place. And again, that's just not something that I believe that you can do simply through meditation. Although meditation is a fantastic tool and you should keep it and you should do it and you should practice it, IFS is doing something on a much deeper level. So let me talk about integration really quick because it's such a beautiful concept. I'm gonna reference Dan Siegel here. If you guys don't know who Dan Siegel is, he is a pioneer in the field of interpersonal neurobiology, and he's written a lot of different books about the mind, incredible books. This one I'm going to be quoting from is Pocket Guide to Interpersonal Neurobiology. It's a $30 book, well worth it, incredible book. And in the back he's got a whole bunch of different definitions. So as I said before, in both meditation or in IFS, and a bunch of other practices that we're doing, we're trying to integrate the mind. So let me read how Dan Siegel defines integration. Integration. In general, the linkage of differentiated elements. The mind's process of linking differentiated parts into a functional whole is postulated to be the fundamental mechanism of health. Without integration, chaos or rigidity ensue. Integration is both a process and a structural dimension, and can be examined, for example, in the functional and anatomical studies of the nervous system. So there's two sentences that I'm just going to read again for you. Integration. The mind's process of linking differentiated parts into a functional whole is postulated to be the fundamental mechanism of health. Without integration, chaos or rigidity ensue. So integration is fundamental for health, and without it, chaos or rigidity ensue. We absolutely want integration. And both meditation and IFS help bring integration to your system. So integration can be looked at as understanding your world. Understanding it as from as many perspectives or as many sides as you possibly can. And that comes around trauma as well. And when you're in meditation and if some kind of trauma comes up and you just simply release it, having it come up and going through that in that moment, that may have led to some integration. But again, I would argue that if you stayed with that trauma, and either you had the capacity and understanding to work with that part of your system on your own, or if you had someone like me or another trained IFS therapist to help guide you in that process, that much greater integration could ensue, that you could really understand that traumatized part of you and bring much deeper healing and much greater potential of growth into your life. So I don't want to offend anybody meditating out there, and I really hope I didn't do that in this video, but it is really important for me to express that passive self-observation can only take you so far. And I hope that makes sense. Please reach out to me, connormcmillan.com. You can check out my very reasonable, I think, rates that are on there for Skype and phone calls and emails. And I really want to connect with you. I really, really do. And this forum is a great place to do that. It's a great place to jumpstart discussions and to connect with one another. So please take the time to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, to share it. If you think I'm doing a good job, please let me know, because that feedback makes a world of difference for me. And then if you have any questions or comments, post them down below. That's what it's for. Much love to you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.